Welcome to the Divine Feminine Podcast, where I am your host, Priestess Hanira Abunu. Here I support women in learning and applying the Divine Feminine principles into their lives. We talk about lifestyle, family, culture, and spirituality, all from a traditional African perspective. Welcome to the safe space. Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Divine Feminine Podcast. Hey, I'm feeling good today. How you guys feeling, right? This is my last week on the West Coast. I'm getting ready for Africa. Hey, things are moving along. I'm going to be on the East Coast pretty soon. My East Coast family, shout me out. I can't wait to see you. Man, the energy is good. We're about a week out from the solar eclipse. We're about a week. Well, not a week out. It's already passed. So a week passed. We're riding that wave of that energy. Yeah? You guys feeling that? My week has been amazing. Oh, and I will tell you, right? So with transition and things moving around, this is my last week in the studio and I'm excited. I got a bunch of equipment so that as I'm traveling, I can continue to give you guys, regular episodes. I can continue to update you no matter where in the world I am, no matter where I'm traveling. I can continue to help and be there for you. Shout out to everyone who's been contacting me on social media, all the people who have joined the Divine Feminine family. Shout out to the Divine Feminine family. Hey, you guys, if you want to join the family, we meet on Wednesdays. We have long conversations. We talk about the podcast. I'm there. I give that time to you guys to ask your questions, whether it's about the ancestral altars, whether it's about communal living, whether it's about forming your sisterhood, or if you have any other questions when it comes to spirituality. Man, Wednesdays is where it goes down. So you guys need to join the Divine Feminine family and come hang out with us on Wednesdays. We do our Zoom calls. It's nothing but love. And, the women there are great. I love it. So this is the last episode of our Sisterhood series. So this is episode Sisterhood part 4. And this is going to be the last of our Sisterhood series. And then we'll move into, something else. I don't know what it'll be. I know I promised you guys we're going to have some sex talk, right? Hey, talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. So shout out to Salt and Pepper. So I promised you guys we would have that talk, but I don't know what that's looking like. I have, I'm like, do I start with the role of the woman? Do I start with breaking down the divine feminine energy? Like, where do I start with that before I just bring in the sex talk? I don't know. It's coming to me. Ancestors, reveal it. So I'm not sure what that next series is going to look like, but it's coming. So I don't have a name for it yet. You guys will just have to stay tuned. You'll just have to be listening. You guys have any suggestions? You need to email me, message me. I know I talked to a couple sisters and we were talking about dating and they were like, all that needs to be in the podcast. They were just like, everything you just said to us right now just blew our minds, and we know other women can build from it, can learn from it, because the way we are set up, I'm totally scared of polygyny. I'm totally scared of my culture based on what I've been exposed to and dating and what does that look like? And man, they got us scared of black love, y'all. That's not good. So I'm trying to figure out what that's going to look like. So we're going to put that together. But as for today, we're doing sisterhood and we're going to wrap sisterhood up. So I'm going to recap some things and we're gonna go over some new things. And you guys gonna tell me some things. No, I'm playing. I'm feeling so joyful today. You guys feel my energy? Man, we're embarking on some good turns that are about to happen. It's summertime. We full in June. June, how you doing? We're about to be in July. Man. So last week, let's get into it, okay? Let's talk about last week. So last week in the Sisterhood series, we talked about the keys to partnering and building your sisterhood, your foundation. Like, what do you do? How do you align yourself with women to build those sisterhoods? And what does that look like? And that was, I hope you guys listened to that episode. If you didn't, go back, take a listen. And the reason we do that, and this is recapping as well, what we're looking at, right? I read the story to you guys last week in the Tales of Hejta, talking about the order of things, and that set the precedent. Because the reason we're doing this is because what we're doing is we're learning how to reorganize our lives according to natural principles, or the way nature intended it to be, the way our ancestors intended it to be. And so now's an ideal time. Where we are, we're living history right now. We are in a place in our lives where we're either quarantined, or we're laid off, or we're having to figure out what the new normal is. This is the ideal time to restructure our lives according to what will put us in harmony with existence. So this is the ideal time. A lot of us are resetting ourselves. We're starting our programs over again. We're starting our routines over again. We're starting everything, right? We're starting our businesses. We're resting. We're doing all of these things. We're just taking a break from the way life used to be. And if you guys have been following me, then you know I say life ain't going back to the way it used to be. We're finding our new normal. So I say, in the new normal, let's reorganize and restructure according to the way nature aligned or says, because that's the way that we will survive in this next phase, okay? And so that's what we're doing. And so that's why sisterhood's important, because we know the very first component in doing that restructure, the very first thing that we should align all of our time around is our spiritual practice and our self-care, right? So those are the big boulders from the story last week that we were talking about in the order of things. Those are the big boulders. Making sure you're meditating, making sure you're taking care of yourself, you're eating healthy, making sure you're in front of your ancestral altar, right? Man, venerating the ones who have come before you. You have to make time for that. When you make time for that, for your self-care, for your spiritual walk, you should be reading. You should be journaling. You should be growing yourself mentally. Whatever your craft is, you should be learning that too. All of that is part of your spiritual walk. Yeah? So when you're making that time, that is first. That is what needs to be protected. And then around that comes everything else. I was talking to a sister just on yesterday, matter of fact. And she was like, I'm not eating right, and she's breastfeeding right now. And she's like, I'm not eating right. I'm not, doing this and doing that. But she's working on her craft. And I'm like, yo, you got to build your sisterhood, because your sisters should be helping you with your food, helping provide meals for you, helping you do all of those things. Yeah, that's what it's about. she's like, I'm in school, I'm learning my craft, I'm doing this, I'm, at my altar. She had everything going, but, I'm like, well, what's going on? Where's the off balance? And that's where it was. And I'm like, man, you need the sisterhood. So you see, no matter where you are, whether you're just starting, right? And you're maybe looking to build your business or your brand, whether you're just starting or you've been doing this for a while and you just need to refocus and recenter and make self-care the center of your life. No matter where you are on the spectrum, you can find value in what I'm saying, of course, because we're just aligning with nature. And so that's what we're doing. We're reorganizing and relearning and changing our bad habits and forming new ones. And we know that in protecting that time, we need to build our sisterhood. And so we talked about that last week. And how do we deprogram, or not deprogram, but how do we find our sisters? How do we find our sisterhood, right? Sometimes we attract, different people around us. It's like, yeah, that sister's kind of cool. That's, I've been knowing her for a long time, but now that we have a different mindset and we're more goal and focus oriented, we should be more, I don't want to use the word strategic, but we should be thinking, right? And we should have set certain intentions out there. And this is good because when we set our intentions, then we'll start to manifest and attract what we want, right? I told you guys a couple episodes ago that part of our essence at its core as divine feminine being is that we are able to attract and transform. And so that transformation is part of the manifestation, but the attracting is where we have to make sure we set our intent. Okay. And so we set our intent on the type of people that we want to attract in our sisterhood, right? So we talked about that. What are some of the things? I know for me, I'll just tell you, and you guys forgive me. I know for me, some of the things that we're doing and picking, well, some of the things that I do, forgive me, I'm trying to go through my notes and talk to you guys at the same time. I prepared a long time for today, is to make sure, at least for me, when I'm connecting with sisters and I'm bringing them into my world and I'm going into their world, we have to be on the same page when it comes to values, right? I have to know that you value or have the same values that I believe in, right? Well, I'm not talking about religion. I'm saying when it comes to integrity, when it comes to the way you'll respond to situations when they go south or when they go bad, I need to know your value system is the same as mine, your principles. We have to be closely aligned in that area. If our values aren't the same, you won't be in my inner circle. You won't be one of the sisters that, I lean on or that can lean on me, closely. Because those people, we have to have tight bonds. I need to know I can trust my children with you. You need to know that you can trust your children with me. I need to know that I could trust my business with you. You need to know that you can trust your business with me. I need to know I can trust my husband with you. You need to know you can trust your husband with me. Those types of things. You need to know that if we have a disagreement, my values prevent me from going into certain negative territories and responding a certain way. You need to know that because of what I believe in and the way that I hold my self in respect and my integrity, the integrity that I hold a certain way, you need to know that I'm not going to, burn the business down because we had a disagreement. I was reading online today. It was in my feed, and a brother was shouting out, and this is unfortunate, but he was on live, and he was did a couple posts, and so I'm reading in the post, and I guess his PPP money came in, right? The Small Business Administration, his loan had come in, and he had a business partner, and she put it in her name. And I guess they had a disagreement, and the money came in, and she was keeping all the money. And so, in the disagreement over the money, he said she Karen'd him, right? That's a name or a thing that's going on right now. If you don't know what it means to be a Karen, I need you to look that up on the internet. I'm not going to explain it right now, because we might have some Karens listening. But all I'm going to say is those of you who know what a Karen is, I know you guys are busting up laughing right now. I'm laughing. So he had been Karen'd by his business partner, which was, another African. And it was sad to watch the video of her calling the police on her brother, and talking. Hey, I got a visitor in the booth today. Watching her call the police on her brother, right? They didn't have the same values. They didn't hash that out in the beginning. That situation should have never happened. When you're building your sisterhood, you need to make sure you guys are on the same page when something goes wrong. If something goes wrong, we not calling, we not involving the police. If something goes wrong, we not gonna go to the court system. We gonna handle this a specific way. This is how we gonna handle it, right? And you need to make sure that both of your values, integrity, morals, all of that is in alignment. I know for me, when I'm picking my sisters, and we do it subconsciously even, like, and it's not like you have to have a checklist, right? And you have to have your notepad and your glasses on, and you looking over your glasses, looking at the sister like, I don't know about her, check. She don't make the list. No, it's not that formal. I think that as you interact, as you meet people, as you even listen to this podcast, you're doing a mental inventory in your mind of all the women that you know, and who fits the bill, who doesn't, who you can move close to you, who you haven't. We do that naturally as women, right? And so all I'm saying is we need to add some of these filters in how we build our sisterhood. One of which is being our values. Another one that's big for me is everyone needs to be committed to evolving, right? So we're not even touching on religion because it has nothing to do with religion. Are you committed to evolving and being a better human being and developing yourself and always becoming better, raising your quality? If you're not like that, you can't be in my sisterhood, because that's what I'm about. Let me tell you, when I first started selling tonics and herbs, I didn't even want to do that, right? It wasn't even something I had thought of, but people were in need. And I was like, well, I have this. I can help you. And I said, well, let me give it to you. And, well, how much do you charge? What? I wasn't charging. So I ended up just, let me put it in a wine bottle. Let me put it in a mason. Then we went from the wine bottles to the mason jars. Then we moved from the mason jars. And I said, well, we got to get better. We got to evolve. Where's the becoming of this thing? Now we have the tonics and the nice bottles and the packaging is coming along, but it didn't start that way. But because of one of my core principles is always to evolve, my evolution will cause me to raise my quality, will always cause me to be better, right? You can't let stagnation set in. And you can't be around people who are stagnant because they will make you stagnant. So when you're building your sisterhood and you're evaluating the people who are around you, this is what you need to keep in mind. Okay? These are the things you need to keep in mind. Are they committed to evolving just like you? That's number 2. For me, number 3, in picking my sisters in my sisterhood is, are they honoring their ancestors? Do they acknowledge their ancestors and everything they do? They may still go to church. They may still go to the mosque. They may still do all of those things. But do they also practice ancestral veneration? Why is this important for me in building my sisterhood? And why should it be important for you? Let me tell you. Because there is a certain hierarchy to existence and the way that nature and God and the divines put things in order. Okay? And part of that divine order is the way we acknowledge and move up through existence and ancestral veneration, right? Let me put it to you like this. God did not, and I was having a conversation earlier at the tire place, getting my car fixed, that God did not create me by himself. In order to create me, he went through my parents and made it so that my parents created me. Therefore, if I want to go through to the Creator, I can't overthrow the divine order he already set forth. So there's a structure to existence. And that's with all things in nature, the family structure, everything. And so if you have a person in your inner circle that does not honor their ancestors, there's a whole lot that they're not honoring. There's a whole lot of things in nature that they're out of alignment with. That is big. That is huge. Do you want someone like that in your circle? Do you want someone who does not know how to respect their parents, does not know how to respect their spouse, does not know how to respect their ancestors and those who came before them? Nah, they're not going to respect nothing y'all build together. They're not going to respect the laws you guys put in place, the bylaws. They're not going to respect the rules that you guys set. They're not going to do none of that. Why? Because they don't respect the divine order. You see how that works? So for me, and my sisterhood, for those women who roll with me, man, let me tell you, if you don't have your ancestral altar set up, if you don't go before ancestors before everything you do, all big decisions, if you don't have your self-care in alignment, you're not close to me. I can't trust you because you're going to misstep at some point. You're going to be off at some point. And I need people around me that are sharp. When I move, I need you to move, right? When you move, I'm right with you. When I need advice, I need to know that the advice you're giving me is sound advice based on the same values and order in which I live by. I need you to give back to me what I know to be true. And I can't trust you if you don't honor the divine order. Man, that's big. That's big for me. So another one for me, so I've given you 3 so far. The 4th one for me in picking my sisterhood is picking sisters who who respect nature. All right, so you say, well, you said honoring your ancestors, ancestral veneration, and now you're saying respecting nature. Is that different? Yeah, it's different. They're all universal laws. It's all the structure of existence, with the Divine Mother all put in her hierarchy, in her structure that she's created. But it's different. The reason you must respect nature is because nature has its order, right? And if you don't respect nature, that means you are a destroyer of nature. If you are a destroyer of nature, that means you're out of harmony with existence. I'm in harmony. You know, nature, everything in existence is governed by an energy, by a divinity, by a voodoo. And so if you don't respect nature, that means you're not respecting the voodoo. You're not respecting the spirit. You're not respecting the energy. Nah. Now, I'm not saying everybody in my circle has to be a priest. I'm not saying that at all. Matter of fact, the people in my circle, not all of them are priests. You don't have to be an initiate. But there are certain fundamental things that you do have to do. You have to be a respecter of nature. So that's the fourth thing. Now, this is for me in my personal circle, and I'm offering this to you to get you started, right? And then you can be more specific. But those for me are the basic things. So what are the 4 basic things I say? You must have the same values. Everyone must be committed to evolving. That's number 2. Number 3, you must honor your ancestors. And number 4, you got to respect nature. Man, right? Good. You got that? You got those 4? That's good. All right, so moving on. So now, you're like, okay, I'm working with a couple sisters. We got our sisterhood set. We got our little schedules in place and things like that. Now, what do you do when you have your women together? When you form and you become a part of a group, you have your clique, you have your sisterhood, you have your group, you have your circle. What do you do now? Right? You guys need to match the spirits in the sister circle. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that there needs to be a way where you identify, right? You identify each person's strong points. And I say strong points because that's, what you guys know. We're living in the West. You guys know that from the business world. But when you bring that into spirituality, what you're really saying is, I want to be with sisters who are letting their divinities express themselves, right? So remember, I was explaining to you guys some time ago, right, that every divinity expresses itself or has certain characteristics. Okay. And so when you picture reincarnation and you came to existence, you were born, right? You came with a main head spirit, and that is the main divinity that rules over you, which means that you come with main characteristics, right? And so when those characteristics, those gifts, those talents, those abilities that you have, when those are expressed, you get good energy behind it. Existence seems to align with you. You say, oh, I have good luck in this. I don't know how I keep attracting this. Why is it that these things come so easy to me and other people struggle. Why do I see things and nobody else sees that? Right? Those are characteristics that come from your divinity, sweetie. And so when you're picking your sisterhood, you need to make sure that each woman is expressing their divinity. What does that do for the circle when you do that? Well, first, let's talk about the individual. When the sister, right, whether it's you, whether it's the next sister, when you are expressing your divinity and you are working in your, say, gifts or talents that divinity has given you, there's a certain energetic force from that divinity that you can tap into that gives you a superpower, so to speak, in that particular area. And so that means that what you're working on, you will be the best in that. Yeah? Because it's a gift or a talent or an ability that is unique to you, because that's what your divinity says. And so when you have everybody working in their strong suit, so to speak, that makes the sisterhood stronger. That makes you all stronger. And remember, you're coming together for a specific goal and a specific purpose. So whether that's building your sisterhood in the home, right? And doing domestic care, that means that sisterhood is going to be strong. There's going to be food every night. All the laundry's going to be done. All the houses are going to be taken care of. Everything is going to be tight, strong, in alignment. There's going to be, when everyone's working in their gifts. You might have a sister circle that's full of sisters and you guys are putting together a business venture. That means that the business is going to be tight. The business is going to be strong. This is powerful when everyone is working in their gifts. When everyone is showcasing their divinity and their divinity specialty and power. Oh, man. There's nothing more powerful than that. That makes your sisterhood the strongest. So the key when you guys come together, when you're forming your circle, you need to make sure, you say, well, what are you good at? What are your qualities? What are your skills? What are you bringing to the table? That's not a Western concept. They took it and, remixed it for their own purpose. But hey, that's your spiritual side. That's your spirituality. You got to take that back and honor it. And so that's what you do. And so different sisters in the group will do different things. Not everybody's a leader. And you guys need to identify that. And there's times to lead and there's times to follow. But there should be at least one leader. And then within that, you have different ways you complement each other, right? So with every strength that a divinity gives you, there are also, say, drawbacks or weaknesses. I don't want to call it a weakness. I'm sorry. But qualities that need to be complemented with someone else. Let me give you an example. Right? So say you have a person who is really good at say getting tasks done, right? Say you have a person and they're an earth sign and their divinity is their element is earth, and that person is really good at getting tasks done, and you need that because that keeps the work going, that keeps the evolution of what you guys are trying to do, that keeps it moving, right? Getting that matter and that earth, that grounding, staying rooted. That's important. You need someone who's an earth element, and their divinity is earth. They get the work done. But one of the, say, maybe, and this is, just hypothetical, but say maybe one of the characteristics that person is not too good at is, say, maybe communicating. So maybe they don't communicate when the work is done, or maybe when they get frustrated about something, they don't communicate and they keep it bottled in. Maybe they don't have a lot of air in their chart, or they don't have, I don't want to say chart. I'm not an astrologist. What I do is the priest hood, and we deal with the voodoo, and maybe they don't have a lot of voodoo with that cover the air element. Maybe they're all earth. Maybe their bloodline doesn't specialize in communicating. So you need to know that. Not so you can poke fun at the person or disqualify them or anything like that, but if that sister is good at what she does, okay, we accept her. She has our values. She's committed to evolving. She's honoring her ancestors. She respects nature. She gets the work done. She can complete tasks quickly and efficiently. We just have to watch out when she gets upset. We have to, check in with her from time to time, because she may not tell us when things are done. You just know how to work with that person, the good and the becoming. We'll say that, right? And so that's important. And so what you want to do in that is pair people together and complement them. And that'll mainly be what your leader does. That's one of the things that a leader does. And they have that gift. And that's a divinity also, right? Certain divinities govern over leadership and govern over family and things like that. So we want to make sure in building our sisterhood, we do that, right? And so the reason we're doing this is to share the responsibility of whatever reason you guys came together, whether it's, household duties, whether it's business or even in spirituality, right? We can't all be praying at the same time. We can't all be doing the same offerings at the same time. There's power in building a spiritual community. You can pray for a situation or invoke a certain ritual, but when you have more energy around you for that ritual, wow, talk about power. It's amazing. So you have these different sisterhoods for different reasons, and it's to offset or amplify you, right? It's to offset or to relinquish you of stress, to help you gain, a higher level of whatever it is, whatever reason you guys came together, so that you can accomplish more with just the energy that you have. And remember, the goal and the reason you're doing that is so that you can protect your spiritual time, so that you can focus on refining yourself, so you can focus on your self-care, right? So that's why the sisterhood is important. And so when you're building your sisterhood, now that you have identified those core things and picking the sisters to bring into your circle, now we have to pair everybody up and see, okay, who's good at what? Like you might have someone who, they're great in the chaos. They're great at implementing structure. But man, long term, their follow through, they're flighty. You may have that, and that's okay. But you identify it and you pair them with someone who maybe isn't good in the chaos and the busyness of how things start, but they're really good in maintenance. If you put a thing together, they can replicate it. If you put a process and a system together, they can refine it and make it better. That's who you pair with. The person who is the Kickstarter, or the person who comes in and organizes the chaos. You see how that goes? That's how you pair divinities together. That's how you pair talents and gifts together. And this is important in your sisterhood. It's very important in your sisterhood. All right. So the next segment I want to go over is one that needs to be covered. And it's going over the obstacles or the realities or the challenges of a sisterhood. And these are just a couple. And, you may know this or be experiencing this in life, but I want to give you some tips on how to overcome the obstacles or the realities or the challenges of bringing women together. Okay? One of the things to be aware of when forming your sisterhood is that as feminine beings, we are managing at all times all four elements inside of us. And so in managing those elements inside of us, it can cause us to be emotional at times. It can cause us to have highs, and it can cause us to have lows. And in maintaining our harmony with nature and our balance in existence, we know that highs are not good. We can't maintain highs for a long time. We shouldn't. That takes us out of harmony. And likewise, we shouldn't be at low points either. It's necessary, but we shouldn't be there long periods of time. Okay? And so that when it comes to emotions, sometimes we're not aware as women that we're operating at certain levels. And so that's something we have to maintain, or we should be aware. I'm having bouts of sadness. Okay, well, how do we handle the sisterhood, or how do we handle our sister who's having bouts of sadness? Or I'm experiencing some frustration or some anger, and I'm having a hard time neutralizing that, or seeing a way out of that. I'm saying some things right now, and there's some women like, well, I'm just mad. Why I gotta balance it out? You piss me off. Yes, you gotta balance that out. You can't stay at that level. We have to stay neutral. If you need help working on that, come on, call me. Email me. I'm here for that. But when we're working in sisterhoods, this is something that we need to be aware of. Another thing with the highs and the lows, and it's because we're divine beings, right? So you have like our sisters who are saying empaths are real sensitive. They can pick energy up. And so they may be, stay away. We have to be aware of that. Or you may have some light workers, and they're always in the mix. And we have to be aware of the energy that we're bringing to not a circumstance, but to a situation. And when you're working in a sisterhood, you need to just be aware that these things can happen. Another thing that we need to do besides balancing out the energy, another obstacle or reality or challenge in being in the sisterhood, is that all the work is not going to be distributed evenly. I hate to bust your bubble, but you need to be aware of that. And I don't know that I'm an advocate for all the work being evenly distributed. And the reason I say that is that because depending on your gifts, you may have more work to do than another person at a particular given time. But if you're working in your strong suit, it shouldn't take you that much time, right? So say if you have a sisterhood that does all the domestic duties, right? You may have somebody who absolutely enjoys washing dishes. And you may have somebody else who refuses to wash dishes, but will sweep and mop faster than anyone around. Yeah. Well, you compliment and you pair those people up. But maybe there's not a lot of people in the house, so you don't have a lot of dishes, right? So the person that's mopping does more work. So that's what I mean by that. Another way that the work could not be evenly distributed is if you have people who are, say, at different integrity levels, or people who are at different levels of their becoming, meaning that, you know, maybe they get tired easy, or maybe they give up easy, or maybe they don't understand suffering and sacrifice for the whole. You know, maybe they give up and they haven't learned how to overcome or to have courage through challenges. There has to be someone there, and it should be your leader, but sometimes it's not. But there has to be someone there that picks up the slack, right? There has to be someone there who shows compassion. There has to be someone there who is tolerant. There has to be someone who is patient with the other members who maybe, you know, drop the ball, or say they just don't have the stamina to go or to do the things that you're able to do. We have to understand that that is a reality in working with the sisterhood. You know, maybe it's due to age. You know, you may have a couple elders in the group, a couple young sisters in the group. And so the work performance is different based on age. And so these are all things to keep in mind, right? And so those are reasons why, say, the work won't be distributed evenly. Doesn't necessarily mean everybody's not giving their all. It's just a reality. It's just a possible obstacle, a possible challenge that may come. And I just want you to be aware, so I'm bringing it up. Right? Let's see. I'm going through my notes here. Another thing we have to worry about, and this is, you know, going again with the emotions, is that depending on, you know, where the women are in their becoming, you may have to deal with certain emotions or reactions. I shouldn't say emotions, that was the first one. Certain reactions or responses, like gossip, like jealousy, like self-sabotaging, like vengefulness, like fear. These are some of the things some of the emotions, some of the responses, some of the actions that come from emotions. And so you need to be aware that these things could be present in your sister circle. And so when you're forming your sister circle, it's good to bring these up front. Like, hey, we don't deal with gossip here. Or maybe we have a sister that's really controlling, right? And doesn't like to share, or is very selfish. We need to bring those things up in the forefront, when you guys are coming together. And so when you bring it up before there's an issue, then you can work out how to deal with the issue from a logical thinking perspective with no emotions involved, because it's not attached to anybody, right? No one has expressed any of these characteristics. And so we're just going to talk about how we should handle it within the group. And so these are things that we should keep in mind, possible obstacles. And so what would I say is my suggestion on how to handle some of the obstacles and some of the challenges and realities that come with being forming the group of the sisterhood? Number one, I would say show humility in how you deal with other women. Because remember, when you're dealing with that woman, that sister, you are not only dealing with her, but you're dealing with her divinities, her spirits, you're dealing with her ancestors, you're dealing with everything that is unseen that's walking with her. And so show some respect. Again, this is why my sisterhood, you gotta respect nature. You gotta respect the divine world. You gotta honor your ancestors, because if not, you don't even understand what humility is. You don't even understand why humility is important. You don't even understand why, I'm coming to you a certain way. It's because I'm respecting everything that's coming with you. Even though you're acting out of character right now, I'm still honoring you. You show humility. There's nothing wrong when you show humility and say go small on things. On the other side, you receive big, because the unseen world, the divinities, all the voodoo, they see that. But you know what that also takes? And this is my other suggestion. That takes self-control. And it takes self-discipline. And those are two things, man, if we could master that, man, that would be a better place. Everything would be better if we could master the self-control. Because it's an internal battle, right? Look at what you made me do. No, nobody made you do anything. You did it. You had no self-control. Your self-control did not overtake your emotions. So you have to use your logic. You have to use your self-discipline. That is key in this. That is how we overcome the obstacles. Another suggestion that I would offer is trying to fit the harmony of the situation. Now, let me give you an example of fitting the harmony of a situation. Say you have a situation and it's someone's taking the lead on a project, or someone's showing initiative to do something. Well, if someone's in that position, to fit the harmony would not be meeting the person with more leadership, right? There's already a leader. There's already someone taking initiative. So then we say, well, how can I fit the harmony? How can I support? How can I add value to the situation? How can I help this divinity express themselves even further? Right? So then you become maybe a support or a follower in whatever actions the person taking initiative has set out. On the other hand, there may be stagnation and a project may not be taking shape, or there may be a lot of chaos, or there might be a lot of people with opinions, but nobody doing the work or nobody making decisions. Well, in that case, I would say there needs to be a leader. So to fit the harmony in the second scenario, you would need to be a leader and show your leadership qualities. So fitting the harmony means whatever a situation calls for, you being dynamic and fluid in your divine feminine self, you being fluid and moving in a way that restores balance and harmony to the situation. Those are all creative ways to keep our sisterhood strong. All right? And why do we want to do that? Because of our goal. At the end of this whole thing, right? The last thing I would add really quick before we go into the goal is also be willing to give. Be willing to give more time, more energy, more input, more work. Sometimes it may be more money, whatever it takes. You can't be selfish, especially in the beginning, at all. Give to the whole. And if everyone has that mindset, you guys will be successful. So those are my tips. So let's go to the goal of this. What is the goal of the sisterhood? In any sisterhood, whether you're forming it for domestic chores or around the house, whether it's homeschooling the children, whether you're building a business, right? Whether it's a spiritual group, whatever it is, whatever the sisterhood is coming together for, what are the benefits and what is the goal? One, to allow ourselves to express our divine energy, to express our divinities. Two, to build a cohesive unit, giving respect to all of our ancestors, to all of our divine energies, bringing them together. And in that, we're complementing one another. We're supporting one another. It's a balanced group that flows, that fits the harmony of all situations. When the goal is met, whatever the goal is, you focus on the individual. You don't focus on the individual. You focus on the goal and the goal being met. What do I mean by that? There may be a time, like I said, you have to be willing to give because maybe no one's giving. Maybe everybody is stagnant. You have to be the one to stay focused on the goal. Well, guys, we said we were gonna, homeschool our kids. So everyone seems to be busy, but the kids can still come to my house and I guess I'll do it all. Right? Sometimes it may take that until everyone else realizes, no. I'm committed to it as well. I need to lend my energy as well. What was I thinking? I've just been busy. I need to reprioritize. Thank you for holding it down, sis, while I focused on other things. That sister that held it down, she can't be selfish. That sister that held it down, she was focused not on herself as an individual, but she was focused on the goal. And that's what's important. Another thing that comes out is we're able to depend on one another. I can depend on you to express your divinity in this way. The good and the becoming. I know what to expect from you. And that's a good thing. The last thing would be you build trust. Trust is important. Well, guys, I'm going to end the podcast here. This has been a full episode. I gave you guys plenty of knowledge and intellect, and I poured all of my divine flow into you guys today. It's been a great, great episode. If you guys have any questions on anything that we covered today, I know it was a lot and I was rushing, then you guys email me, inbox me, hit me up on social media, wherever you know how to contact me. Any of the platforms, do that. I look forward to traveling and connecting and meeting up with the